Benny. Hello and welcome to Weston High School on this beautiful Saturday, October 10th afternoon. You're joining us about halfway through the first of 4 quarters as the Weston Varsity soccer team takes on the Wayland Varsity soccer team on this senior day. And joining me today in the booth, Benny Gilligan and Connor DiBiase at some point, hopefully, as soon as he gets the camera resolution a little bit better. Benny, what have you liked so far about this game?
The score is 0-0, but Weston does seem to be the better team thus far. I mean, they've created some great opportunities. 2 of them I've counted thus far. I mean, Tanner Creelman, number 11, had a really good opportunity in front of net. Unfortunately, couldn't capitalize, but Weston is doing a great job attacking. They haven't really surrendered much on the defensive side of the ball. They're really locking up the Wayland forwards, but some promising signs from Weston thus far. Just got to capitalize, got to execute.
Going back to Wednesday, the Weston soccer team took on the Wayland soccer team and got their first victory of the season, 1-0 on a goal by Christos Iatrides, and that was the only goal of the game as Weston took it 1-0. Today, we're hopefully looking for a similar result as Weston hopefully is heating up for the season as they dropped 2 to Wayland earlier on, but looking to bounce back this week with 2 wins on the win column and turn the season around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're trying to make a playoff push in this shortened season, it's imperative to start well, to go 2-2 rather than 1-3, because a 1-3 hold can be rather demoralizing, especially as you're preparing for a potential playoff push.
Zachary Myers is starting in goal, but we expect him to be replaced in the second quarter by Kevin Joseph, and we expect him to be switching off throughout the game as they did last week and have done throughout this season. As Weston enjoys a indirect corner kick. If you weren't joining us last week, there are no headers, there are no throw-ins. They're all kicking from the sidelines, and corner kicks must be indirect. As Iatrides will cross it in, and it'll be nicely played by the Waltham defender. Sorry, I'm a little used to saying Wayland after last week. As Wayland is able to get it out of the zone and looks to move it upfield as a host of Weston defenders are around. I think one of the keys to the game for Weston today is, really capitalize. I mean, as Benny said, if we can capitalize on those opportunities, I think that can help us greatly. As last week we had a few, we just missed by a little bit. So I think maybe I think that's one of the goals for the Weston team today, to capitalize on chances.
Yeah, and it's interesting today they're playing the 4-2-3-1 formation, which was popularized in the 1990s in Spain. But it's a very, very flexible formation from which, I mean, you can defend well having those 2 defensive midfielders as well.
Right. I mean, you can get 7 to 8 defenders out there, and you can get 6 to 7 attackers out there. So
very flexible.
But it has to be played with good precision, because if your players aren't moving, then you're going to have only 4 defenders and only 1 attacker. So.
And if your midfielders and even attackers don't commit to their defensive responsibilities, it can turn into a de facto 4-3-3, which sometimes can, not be the best defensively. And that's sort of what we saw in the first 2 games against Wayland, where I believe they surrendered 5 goals in both those games. Or in both those games combined, rather.
Marceau on the kick-in, and it will be replayed, something that we saw quite a few times last week due to speed and due to the fact that no soccer players have ever really done this before. It only is done in futsal, but we'll see if Weston has improved their ability on kick-ins, as they will get another one down in the zone, and this time number 11 Creelman will take it and play it back to Berardinelli, who will play it inside to Janavkar, and will be played back to the Weston defense.
Yeah, I mean, Weston really seems to be controlling possession. I mean, much of this game has been in Wayland's half of the field, or Waltham. We keep on saying it, Wayland.
Yeah, Weston has been applying very good pressure, offensive pressure, both in their zone with the ball and without the ball. So we hopefully that trend will continue today as Waltham is moving it downfield. As
great play defensively by Berardinelli to get it out.
That was a long run. But one of the few opportunities for Waltham here today, down in the Weston zone. But that will lead to a kick-in for Waltham, just on the edge of my view, as I have to lift my chair up just to be able to see it. Number 2 for Waltham.
Oh,
Plays
wow.
it right in. Burner late.
Poor pass there, but they get it right back.
Now they're kicking. A little bit like basketball, on a on a deflection, right?
Yeah.
Because passing, if it's deflected out of bounds, goes straight back to the other team. That's what I'm thinking about when I see this, because it happens so frequently.
A momentary pause in play.
Yeah, I think there'll be quite a few of those today. 5 minutes left in the first quarter of play.
And that's Weston ball.
Yes, you heard me correctly. Quarters. There are going to be 4 quarters instead of 2 halves. 4 20-minute quarters. With this new normal, a lot of things change, including how soccer is played, as the Weston defense moves the ball around nicely to switch the field, which is something that, if they use to their advantage, can be very, 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 very beneficial to the team, as they lose the ball, and Waltham will look to start a run, as they have 5 attackers, but the Weston defense has about 7 or 8.
Oh, can't quite get that one. Here's Gregoire. Oh, wow, that's a foul.
Didn't even have the ball, and
Some physicality there.
over. Broke his arm this summer, so
Could be dangerous both physically with like injuries and also
Yeah.
COVID-19.
yeah. I mean, for many reasons, as Janavker, one of the captains, plays it outside to the only starting sophomore, Holden Langenhagen, plays it right to Unho Lee, who had a nice little game last week, although did leave the game with some cramps, but had a great second and third quarter, as he, as him and Krillman are looking to put some goals on the score sheet for themselves today.
Yeah, and Lee is playing that number 10 central attacking midfielder role.
Mm-hmm.
So the offensive, build-up will be controlled by him. He's making the passes to, the wing attackers and Icky at central forward.
Yeah. Waltham with the kick-in from their own side of the zone at about the 40-yard line. And he has no one to pass to. Very good defense by the Weston defenders.
It really is like basketball, right? I mean, you got the defender on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have anywhere to go with the ball, like, it's very different, because the throw-in usually go over players, but you really can't with the kick-in. I mean, it's much more difficult. I don't know if they have to keep it on the ground, but from what I've seen, they've only been on the ground.
Makes it tougher, certainly. I mean, fewer angles.
Yeah, and we were talking about this last week, Connor and I were, about how the roles of kicking out of bounds have changed from normal soccer to this type of soccer, where, if the ball is kicked out of bounds, it's really, it's not as much of a disadvantage as it is now. I mean, a corner kick today, in this game is pretty much worthless, as you can't head the ball and it has to be indirect. Like, there's almost no way for that ball to go in the net. Almost. If you're playing great defense, I would say it's impossible. And then with the kick-ins, it's like, it's almost impossible to get, if you're playing really good defense, it's almost impossible to get the ball where it needs to go.
Yeah. So,
yeah, Christos Iatrides, a little giveaway there, as Krillman is putting on some good defense, and Waltham will find an outlet and look to move the ball upfield.
He's making a run, no offsides. Oh wow, he's gonna break away. Oh great.
Great defense by both Tabers and Levine, as they were able to recover. Save. Good save by Myers, and Weston is able to recover from a seemingly disastrous rush that looked like at the beginning to be a very good scoring chance for the Waltham team, but
very well orchestrated there.
Yeah.
Counterattack from Waltham. And Zach came up with a good save.
One of the few attacks we've seen so far in this game.
Yeah.
As the Weston defense will play it around and look for someone in the middle.
Oh wow, poorly played there, but gets it back to Myers.
Myers is wearing a sweatshirt today. It's a little hot for that, Benny, don't you think?
I got the hoodie and I got the sweatpants.
Yeah, but he's on the field now. You gotta think
that's
that.
That's true.
Levine looks for someone to pass to, and
nice play.
It's a nice
touch. Nice little pass
by Krillman, who gives
a
little bit too strong for Lee, as Krillman's gonna want that one back, isn't he, Benny?
He will.
Number 16, Georgakopoulos, subs in for Marceau. One of the few subs for the Weston team. We mentioned this last week. Wayland last week had about 4 or 5 subs that they consistently subbed in and out of the game. Weston really only had 1 or 2. And that became a problem for Weston later in the game as their players definitely looked a little bit more tired than
wow.
the
Another
other
nice
teams.
run. Okay. Well, unlucky bounce there. For
And a
Nellis.
good play by Levine, who will just play it back. And Iatredes at midfield looked for a pass and was not able to connect, but Icky with the ball as Iatredes gets a shot off, and it'll be just wide of the goal. But that's a good shot right there. He's had some good shots this season so far, and that's what I was talking about earlier. If we can capitalize on a chance like that, that could be the difference between winning and losing, and drawing this game. And that will be, I think, the end of the first quarter, as it is tied 0-0. Waltham versus Weston today here at Proctor Field, and it is senior night, or well, I guess more specifically, tea time, because that is what it's about that time of day. Benny, let's talk about the seniors for a second. Give them a little bit of shining light. Nick Janovker, Nate Icky, Zachary Myers, the 3, and Jackson Tabers, and who else?
James
Christos
Davis,
Iatredes, James Davis,
Edward Wu.
and Isaac Levine. I think we named all the seniors.
Yeah, it'll be tough to see them go. I mean, they'll all be pretty big losses as they've been integral parts of this team for a long time.
And Edward's been an integral part of this team for last about a couple weeks. And
Yeah.
Isaac Levine, his first year on the team, but looking to make a big difference and is a starter on varsity this year, which is pretty impressive feat for someone who really hasn't played that much for Weston in recent memory.
It's great to see these guys too, though. Get a chance to actually play their senior season. Unfortunately, so many seniors last year during their spring season couldn't play, and here we go. I mean, it would be really tough for these guys who love the game, they've been in the team for a long time, to lose a season.
Yeah,
Specifically their season.
Benny and I know a little bit about that last spring, as we both lost our tennis season.
I think we all know. I mean, what would have happened. But
This year we're playing for 2 championships, right? And we will take a break, but